Director Vivian Cross had one rule everyone knew about: no personal connections at work, no friendships, no mentorships beyond professional necessity, no emotional attachments. In her 12 years at Sterling and Associates, she'd never broken that rule. Not once. She was legendary for it, the ice queen who kept everyone at arm's length, who never attended company socials, who declined every invitation to connect outside of work. I was a 24-year-old intern who'd been there 3 months, invisible among dozens of employees. Then one evening, working late on a presentation, I made a comment about classical music playing from her office. She stopped in the doorway, stared at me for a long moment, then said quietly, "Stay after everyone leaves. Please." An hour later, alone in the empty office, she sat across from me and said, "I don't do this. I don't let people in. I have rules, strict rules, about keeping distance. But you're the exception. You've been the exception since day one, and I don't know what to do about it." Before we dive into how I became the exception to my boss's carefully constructed rules, drop a comment telling me what city you're watching from, and please subscribe to help the channel grow. This story is about walls built over years crumbling for one person, rules that stop making sense when the right person appears, and learning that sometimes being someone's exception means everything. My name is Spencer Lake. I'm 24, and 3 months ago I started an internship at Sterling and Associates, a prestigious consulting firm. It was competitive. Hundreds of applicants for 20 intern positions. I was grateful to be there, even if it meant being invisible most of the time. Director Vivian Cross was not invisible. She was impossible to miss. 41, elegant, intimidating. She ran the strategy division with precision and control. She wore designer suits in blacks and grays, her dark hair always in a perfect twist. She spoke with authority that made executives twice her age defer to her judgment. And she was completely, famously isolated. "Don't take it personally," my fellow intern Marcus told me during my first week. "Director Cross doesn't do personal. She's been here 12 years, never attended a single company happy hour, never grabbed coffee with colleagues, never had a work friend. People call her the Ice Queen. That seems lonely. That seems intentional. She has rules about professional distance. Everyone knows it." I learned quickly he was right. Director Cross was polite but distant. She'd acknowledge you in the hallway with a brief nod, nothing more. She'd answer direct questions but never engaged in small talk. She ate lunch alone in her office. She left exactly at 6:30 p.m. every day, declining any social invitations. "Vivian Cross doesn't do drinks after work," I heard a senior associate say once. "She doesn't do anything after work except go home alone. Been that way forever." It fascinated me in a way I couldn't explain. Not her coldness, her consistency. She'd built walls so carefully, so completely. Why? What was she protecting? Week 6, something shifted. I was working late on market analysis, intern grunt work, and had classical music playing softly from my earbuds. Chopin, one of my favorites. I didn't notice Director Cross passing until she stopped. "Nocturne in E-flat major," she said. I jumped, pulling out my earbuds. "Director Cross, I'm sorry. I didn't realize the volume was..." I could barely hear it. I recognized it because... She paused. "I play that piece. Piano." "You play piano?" Something crossed her face, surprise at herself for sharing. "Yes, though I don't typically discuss it." She looked like she might say more, then just nodded. "Carry on." She left. I sat there stunned. She'd voluntarily shared something personal. The Ice Queen played Chopin. Week 8, it happened again. I was making coffee in the break room at 7:30 a.m., earlier than most interns arrived. Director Cross entered, saw me, and actually paused. "You're here early." "Yes, ma'am. Big presentation prep." "You're working on the Morrison account?" "Just research support for the senior team." She poured her own coffee, black, no sugar, and I expected her to leave. Instead, she said, "The Morrison account will fail if they focus on demographics. The real opportunity is behavioral patterns." I blinked. That's actually what I noted in my research summary. But I didn't think anyone would read intern notes. I read everything. She took a sip of coffee. Your analysis was insightful, more so than the senior associate's initial brief. Thank you. You have good instincts, Spencer. She said my name like she'd been thinking about it. Then she left, and I stood alone wondering if I'd imagined the conversation. Week 10, the pattern continued. Small moments, Director Cross acknowledging my work, making brief comments, once correcting my analysis with an explanation instead of just marking it wrong. Nothing dramatic. But for someone who maintained absolute professional distance with everyone, it felt significant. Is it weird that Director Cross knows my name? I asked Marcus. Yes, very. She doesn't know anyone's name unless they're director level or above. I've been here 3 months and I'm pretty sure she thinks I'm the tall intern. She's given me feedback on 3 different projects. Spencer, that's not normal. She doesn't give interns feedback. She barely acknowledges interns exist. But she was acknowledging me. More than acknowledging, she was paying attention. And I didn't understand why. Month 3, everything changed. It was a Thursday evening, most people gone by 7 p.m. I was finishing a presentation deck, working at my cubicle with music playing from my phone. Chopin again, different piece. Director Cross's office door was closed, but I could see light beneath it. Nocturne in C-sharp minor, her voice said behind me. I spun around. She was standing there in her usual professional perfection, but something in her expression was different. Softer, almost uncertain. You really know your Chopin, I said. I told you, I play. She gestured to my computer. Working late? Presentation deck for tomorrow's pitch, probably another hour. The team doesn't appreciate how much work interns do behind the scenes. It's okay. I like the work. She looked at me for a long moment, like she was deciding something. Stay after everyone else leaves. Please, I'd like to talk to you. My heart jumped. About work? About... She paused. Just stay. Please. An hour later, the office was empty except us. My phone buzzed with a text. Director Cross's office. Now, if you're comfortable. I walked to her office on shaking legs, knocked on the partially open door. Come in, close the door. I did. She was standing by her window, looking out at the city, still in full professional armor, but somehow vulnerable. Am I in trouble? I asked. No, you're... She turned to face me. You're the opposite of trouble. That's the problem. I don't understand. Sit. Please. She gestured to the chairs by her desk. I sat. She remained standing, clearly uncomfortable. I have rules, Spencer. Strict rules about professional boundaries. I don't make friends at work. I don't mentor beyond what's required. I don't form attachments. I've maintained those rules for 12 years, without exception. Okay. I built those boundaries deliberately. After someone I cared about in a professional context betrayed me, used my trust against me, I decided never again. No personal connections, just work. It's safer that way. That sounds lonely. It is, but it's controlled. And control matters when you're a woman in a male-dominated industry, fighting constantly to be taken seriously. She finally sat across from me. Do you know why I'm telling you this? No. Because you're the exception. She said it quietly, like a confession. You've been the exception since day one, and I don't know what to do about it. My breath caught. Exception to what? To everything. My rules, my boundaries, my carefully maintained distance. Her hands clasped tightly. I don't notice interns. I certainly don't learn their names or read their research or pay attention to what music they listen to. But with you, I can't help it. You walked in 3 months ago and I immediately noticed. Your intelligence, your kindness to other interns, the way you treat everyone with respect regardless of hierarchy, the way you listen to Chopin at 7 a.m., like it's the only thing that makes mornings bearable. You noticed all that? I notice everything about you. It's becoming a problem. Why is it a problem? Because I have rules. Because you're an intern and I'm a director and there are power dynamics and ethical considerations. Because I swore I'd never let anyone in again, and you're somehow already in. Her voice cracked slightly. I'm telling you this because I can't keep pretending anymore. Every time you walk past my office, I lose focus. Every time you present in meetings, I'm more impressed than I should be. Every time you smile at someone, I wish you were smiling at me. I sat frozen, processing. Director Cross? Vivian, please. If you're my exception, call me Vivian. Vivian. The name felt intimate. I don't know what to say. Say if this is completely unwelcome, if I've made you uncomfortable, if you want me to transfer you to a different division so you never have to deal with your boss having inappropriate feelings. She looked genuinely scared. Or say if maybe, and I know this is presumptuous, you felt it too, this thing between us. I've felt it, I admitted quietly. I thought I was imagining it. You're the ice queen. You don't notice anyone. I didn't. Until you. She leaned forward. Tell me what you're thinking. Please. I'm thinking you're not what everyone says. You're not cold or distant or unfeeling. You're just protecting yourself. I was protecting myself. Then you showed up making that protection feel unnecessary. Like maybe being vulnerable with the right person isn't dangerous. And you think I'm the right person? I don't think. I know. You're the exception to every rule I made, Spencer. The question is whether you want to be. I stood, walked around the desk to where she sat. I've been hoping for 3 months you'd see me, really see me. Not just as an intern, but as a person. I see you. I've been seeing you. Too much. She stood facing me. But we need to be realistic. I'm 17 years older. I'm your supervisor. There are massive ethical concerns. So we address them, disclose to HR. I transfer divisions. We establish protocols. You'd do that? Give up working in strategy? To be with you? To be your exception? Yes. I took her hand carefully. But only if you're sure. If you're willing to break your rules for me. She looked at our joined hands, then at me. I'm terrified. I haven't done this, any of this, in over a decade. I don't know how to be open, how to let someone in. We figure it out together. No pressure, no expectations beyond honesty. I can do honesty. She squeezed my hand. Honest truth? I've been falling for you since week 2 when you defended another intern in a meeting. You were brave and kind and didn't care that it might hurt your standing. I went home that night and realized I was in trouble. Why didn't you say anything sooner? Because I kept thinking these feelings would go away if I just ignored them. They didn't. They got stronger. Until tonight, listening to you play Chopin in an empty office. I couldn't pretend anymore. I stepped closer. Can I kiss you? God, yes, please. I kissed her, gentle and careful, like she might break. She made a soft sound, her hands coming up to cup my face, kissing me back with months of restrained feeling. When we broke apart, she was smiling, a real, genuine smile I'd never seen. I don't smile at work, she whispered. Haven't in years, but apparently that's another rule you're exception to. Good. You should smile more. Around you, I don't think I'll be able to help it. We figured out the logistics over the following weeks. I transferred to a different division under a new supervisor. Vivian disclosed our relationship to HR. We established clear boundaries. No special treatment, regular third-party reviews, complete transparency. At work, she remained Director Cross, professional, controlled, respected. But after hours, she was Vivian. She invited me to her apartment and played Chopin for me on her grand piano. She told me about her past, her fears, why she'd built such high walls. She let me in completely, piece by piece, rule by rule, breaking down. You know what's terrifying? She said one evening, 2 months into us being official. We were at her place, cooking dinner together, something she said she never did with anyone. What? How easy this is. How natural. I spent 12 years convinced I was better off alone, that letting anyone close was dangerous. Then you came along and every day with you feels right, safe, like maybe I was wrong about everything. You weren't wrong. You were protecting yourself. But you're allowed to stop protecting when you find someone safe. Are you? Safe? I'd never hurt you, Vivian. Not intentionally. She pulled me close. I believe you. That's the really terrifying part. I actually believe you. 6 months later, at a company event she'd normally skip, Vivian showed up, with me, as her girlfriend, publicly. People stared, the ice queen at a social event with her arm around someone actually smiling. Everyone's staring, I whispered. Let them. I spent 12 years hiding. I'm done hiding you. No regrets about breaking your rules. She kissed me right there, in front of colleagues and executives and everyone who thought she'd never let anyone in. Only regret is not breaking them sooner. You're not just my exception, Spencer. You're my everything. I was just an intern until my ice queen boss whispered I was the exception. It was terrifying and beautiful, and the best rule-breaking of both our lives. Because sometimes the people with the highest walls built them waiting for the right person to climb over, and sometimes being someone's exception means being the person they'd break every rule for. Would I recommend pursuing your boss who has strict professional boundaries? Not generally. But would I recommend being authentic enough that the right person notices? Always. Because sometimes ice queens are just people waiting for someone warm enough to melt their defenses. And sometimes all it takes is being exactly yourself until someone realizes you're their exception to everything.